No?
I'd be glad when this is on the trailer.
Me too. So this might weigh about 1,500 pounds the way it sits. Goal is to get it on that trailer down there, that equipment trailer, and strap it down to take it to Florida. Come on. There we go. Come on, baby. Ah. Okay, here's all the stuff that Steve bought. And that's one of the reasons we're not taking the engines back this time, because it kind of took a lot of space. He ended up getting the scaffolding and the press and the other drill press and the lathes and everything that were already discussed, and the saw, the bandsaw over there. There's the engine I'm going to come back and get for Randy. Underneath is the transmission and all the stuff that goes with this engine. And then here I found this in the barn and that outside in the wing. These are Ford performance parts of some kind for like a 302. And this is an old polishing kit, and I don't even know if the polish is any good or not. I'm just going to take it home and see what I can do with it. It's got metal polish and buffs and stuff in it.
Why? Because I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm making me an AC cart. See that cart? There's my Freon, my pump, all my AC fittings, all my...
Guess what else you can put there now? You gave Steve that bottle of leak detector bubbles, and you got your sniffer.
Yep.
Show them what retirement's all about, Steve. Show us what you did with the setup with the machines.
I wish I could show you what retirement was all about.
Now this up here is the
40.
This is the 40 Chevy up here under this tarp.
Yeah.
There's a Volkswagen dune buggy under here.
Yeah.
I think it's a 70, right?
Well,
63.
67.
That's right. It's pretty cool. It's got a hard top, and underneath here is a pretty slick looking Corvette. What was it, 89?
89.
89 Corvette, yeah, with 600 horsepower, with some really slick hood vents that Steve put in there, with mathematical precision.
Yeah.
What year was this truck?
This is a 50.
50, that's right.
50 F1.
Yeah, this is a really super sharp truck here. Torque thrust wheels, two-tone paint.
Yeah.
Really good color scheme too, isn't it, Steve?
Yep. 302.
302. The press.
That was the press.
It looks good and clean now too, Steve.
Yep.
Did you have to redo some seals in that cylinder, you said? Or did it start working?
Up here.
Up there? Oh, okay, cool.
And actually, there was two on here.
Uh-huh.
So when you buy it, evidently,
Oh, it comes with extras.
unless his dad had a problem before.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
and he bought more.
And he got a couple
Yeah.
of them. I have no idea. That might be a common
Yeah.
problem.
Have you tried this yet?
Yeah, I tried
Have you
that.
done a sample part or whatever?
Yeah. It's rusted now, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it was spotless yesterday.
Oh, good. Did you use the black oxide?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
like compare a blonde to a brunette till you have them both. You don't know.
Good analogy, Steve. How about a redhead?
But yeah, I don't know. I always like that.
Well, I'll tell you about redheads off camera, okay?
So this I set up. I just started playing
Mm-hmm.
grinder.
Yep, that was the grinder.
Yep.
Yep. There's the drawers that had some of the machining bits in it.
This cabinet was under the old plate,
Yes.
but it was, broke.
Yeah.
So I took it off, put it back, put a bottom,
Kind of rebuilt it.
put all the drawers in it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Arbor press.
Yep.
The base was broke,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to the welding shop tomorrow. So yeah, the lathe I went through. That's fixed right down to the power on light bulb.
Yep, he's even got the power on light bulb fixed. He had to order that bulb,
Yeah.
and that lets you know that there's power running to the machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
And
is
then
no wonder it's burnt out because it's
it stays on constantly.
always on.
Correct.
So I had rewired this place for these.
Mm-hmm.
So now I just flip the breaker off. There's no need for that to be
Right, exactly.
on.
And then you had to clean up all the guides and stuff on this
Oh my
one, right?
God, yeah. Everything.
They were cosmolined up, you said?
Well, they were rusted up. Cause
Yeah.
the saw works really
Oh
easy
yeah,
now.
much better. Much better.
And so
And this metal tray on the back, what did you call that?
it's a chip tray.
Chip tray. It
And
wasn't on there because it wouldn't fit. So Steve,
because of this.
right?
This is what they call a VRO.
Correct.
So there's a little computer box that goes on there, and it tells you where this is going.
Hey Diane, say hello to Brad.
Hi, Brad.
That's Mrs. Parker. She's the sweetest peach cobbler, aren't you, Diane? Ain't she, Steve?
Yep.
Yep.
On camera.
Yeah,
you know.
that's right.
Now it's ready to go,
Right.
and this is how you turn it on.
Yeah, that's the.
And if this is turning, this is in gear.
Right.
You can put this in gear, and now it'll turn. It's moving this.
Wow. Oh yeah, look at that. Cool. So when we were trying to turn it on, we weren't turning that. That's the actual switch down there, that arm.
Right.
Right.
And if it's in the off position, now you put it the other way, it'll turn backwards.
Oh yeah. Very cool.
Which means if you put this in gear, now it's going to go the other way.
The other way, right.
But if you're doing work, you don't want the chuck to go backwards.
Right, right.
So you just change this. And the chuck will go in the right direction, and this will go backwards.
And that will still go backwards. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it's like a transmission, basically.
Yeah, and then you can put this over here, and this will stay, but then this will go back and forth.
Oh, cool.
So I got it all
You got it dialed in.
all fixed. I got lights on
Lights on it
there.
now. Those are sewing machine lights, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Little LED sewing machine.
Cool. By the way, I know absolutely nothing about this at all. The only thing I know how to use, Steve, is a brake lathe. And I'm really good at using a brake lathe
Yeah.
because I probably turned 1,000 drums and rotors when I worked at the parts store
Yeah.
back when they did that.
We did it at Gal's too because you can turn it on and
Yeah.
go do something else.
Exactly.
Set the
It's-
stop and it'll shut it
Exactly.
off. You know, this wouldn't travel because it was froze up,
right.
and now it
does what it's supposed to do.
does
So
what
this
it's
other
supposed to do.
this other attachment here is 120 volt, like an
Right.
add-on motor
right.
that drives this axis here,
Yeah.
which is going this way, right? Back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then this whole deal was on the floor,
Yeah.
seized up. It looks like you got it all cleaned up real good and oiled up.
And then this is a power. This is X axis. Axis.
Axis.
This is Y.
Uh-huh.
This is Z.
Right.
This has a power Z,
Right.
and that didn't work because
Oh yeah, I remember this.
it was missing that little orange.
The orange round belt
They
was
call
gone.
it a belt, but it's an O-ring. You know,
Right.
But that's a silicone. So now that works. So and this actually even was frozen here. It would only
Yeah.
move about 2 inches.
I remember that well because we were loading it. I had to grab it in a couple of those places, and it was pretty cruddy.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I hope Steve hits that with at least some emery cloth or something.
Razor blade. Had
Razor
a
blade?
Razor blade. All that. Put lacquer thinner on it. Soften it up. Take a razor blade. Scrape
just
it off.
Painstakingly
And-
scrape it all off.
And then
Yeah.
Scotch-Brite pad and
Oh,
lacquer
Scotch-Brite.
thinner.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
because it doesn't mess with the metal.
Well, it's good and slicked up now, pickled up good.
Drill
As-
press was the same. Shaft was the same way.
Yeah. By the way, I think this fluid film, Steve, I don't know.
Where do you get that from? Somebody gave me that.
I just bought some of this myself a while back, but this is not oil. This is at, it starts with lanolin. This is lanolin. And lanolin is what they pickle like brand new rotors and stuff with out of the box. And it's good for door hinges and stuff too.
So this little bandsaw,
Yeah.
that blade hanging on
Oh,
the back.
wow. You got your blade selection back there.
Yep.
Yep.
The belt was blowed up.
That belt was blowed up for sure. Yeah, I remember that too.
So this hydraulic system
Mhm.
didn't work. So I was worried that it wasn't gonna work. This line off, filled it, worked it back and forth, filled it, worked it back and forth, and finally I got it where you tighten this valve and you let this down and it's gonna stop right there. And then you crack this valve for however fast
You want it to come.
you
Oh, look
want
at that.
that you want that to fall down.
So really what happened with that is it just sat probably not used for a long time.
Well, the oil went somewhere. I mean, it
Yeah.
shouldn't have went really anywhere. For it, you'll hear it hit that switch now.
There it went. Yeah, cool.
Shut it off.
It shuts the motor off on the saw, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, so you know it's completed the cut.
These are all, how do you say, concentrics.
Yes.
So you have to tilt the blade, line the blade. So because I do that on my wood saws, you know.
Now this drill press, it pretty much just worked pretty well. Just cleaned it up and it worked fine, right?
Along with that, the motor, you can move it up and down this way, and then on the motor itself, you can move it this way.
Right.
So it was in there crooked,
Yeah.
and the pulley was too far up. So on both of them, I had to put a straight edge on them and just square them up, make the belt run straight.
Loosen the bolts and line them up right and tighten everything back up.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the two scaffoldings that were outside in that side.
Yeah, these are just cheap Harbor Freight scaffolding setups, I believe, right?
I don't know if they're Harbor Freights or not.
Let's give a baseline here. What happened was these were outside that barn in one of the wings, disassembled when I first saw them. And then when me and Steve went up there to get all this equipment picked up, Steve kind of had a light bulb appear above his head.
Yep.
And I could see it actually. It was an LED light bulb.
Yeah.
And he decided that scaffolding would make some really good rolling shelving. Because they roll across, I mean, those things rolled right out in the grass like it was nothing, you know. So he put some, what'd you do? Put some kind of lumber on there, make some shelves.
2x6s,
Yep.
and then every piece of plywood I could find.
Yeah, every scrap piece of plywood laying around.
The Harbor Freight one said they would hold 600 pounds.
Oh, well then I could
So,
stand on it.
I
then.
don't think that would be 600 pounds.
Yeah. The last time I was in this part of this shop, I didn't even know what was from the other side of those scaffoldings this way. I didn't even realize what was over here. It was just a bunch of random items from what I remember. Sheena's passed away, and we went up there and got all this equipment because Steve has a lot of experience with machines and lathes.
This is a brand new piece of high-speed tool steel.
Right.
And so you grind whatever you want. You can see where he ground
Right.
whatever you got to grind. It's hard, but you can grind it. But nowadays, you buy these and you don't ever grind it. That's
A tip.
this is a 3-sided one. You can get them that's 6.
Uh-huh.
And so when you wear this cutter out, you loosen that little screw, you turn it, set the next one on there, wear it out, turn it, set the next one on there, and then you just buy this little piece of carbide. So you don't ever grind anything. You don't bother sharpening them. These are about $15 a piece.
Right, you just get a new cutter on it.
But if you figure 3 divided into 15, it's,
Yeah, $5 a tool.
you know, they'll last, you know, a long time.
Correct.
So, and then of course this is a huge big piece of carbide
Oh yeah.
on here.
Yep.
You know, and in fact this cutter, you can see each one of these is a separate tool,
Right.
is a carbide cutter. Now I don't know what he did, but he hit something that was hard and broke that one, so I got to try and find.
Now what would he be cutting with that? Would he be reaming out a hole or something?
No,
No?
it's to go across the top of a
Oh, to flatten something.
wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is what they call a fly cutter.
Right.
So this would have a cutter in here, and you put it however length you want it. This turns, it cuts a bigger swipe than that.
Oh, I see. I gotcha. Yeah.
This one, you can put a cutter in the center, and if you cut the hole, you turn this with an Allen screw, and it actually moves this over.
Oh, cool.
And so, say this was 3/8, and now you want that hole to be 1/2 inch.
Right.
Well, you move this from 3/8, 375 to 500, and it'll cut a 500 hole.
Very cool. See, this is a lost art, isn't it, Steve? Now everybody just gets a CNC machine and
punch the
programs
button.
a bunch of coordinates in there and turns it off and goes out for a smoke break, right?
You tell it you want to cut 50 thousandths for 2.5 inches.
Right.
Well, that's what it does. Right?
Yeah.
And when it shuts off and backs itself out, it's done.
Yeah, when I used to turned the rotors and drums back 30 years ago.
2 dials on the rotors.
Exactly. We always had to mic them so we didn't undercut them, make them too thin.
Right.
People got mad when they were too thin. But those old rotors back in the 70s, you could turn those 3 or 4 times usually before you had to throw them out.
Yeah. And now the cars are just a single rotor. They're $25 a piece. You just throw them away.
Exactly. They used to have the double row with the vents in the middle, and then Steve does his work really thorough and really quick. He kind of starts in on something and doesn't let up, don't you, Steve?
See, I had to. This is sloped, I think, 1.5 inches and 21 feet.
Oh, you had to shim it.
Oh God, yeah, I had to shim starting down there.
I see that, yeah.
I shimmed down there, I shimmed right there, and I shimmed inside this cabinet. Because on these, believe it or not, you can twist this cast iron bit. And if you do that, if you start turning here at, say you want something that's 2 inches, by the time you get out here, they want you to test them at 10 inches. You turn something here, it's exactly 2 inches, and you get down here, it might be 1,895.
Right.
You know, or 995. I mean,
it'll be off because that's twisted, yeah.
It's twisted.
A little backstory here too. My wife's uncle passed away in Vidalia, Georgia, and he was a machinist. He was a very talented guy. But when he got older, his health started to decline and he wasn't able to use his equipment. And he had more than this, didn't he, Steve?
Yep.
This was the heart of the operation for him, the lathe primarily in that mill. And he would make his own. Did I tell you he made his own dental implant one time?
The tool to get it out.
Yeah, the tool to get it out, that's right. The dentist didn't have one and he made one.
See you next time.
All right.
Tune in again.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.